That's the song. That's the song. That's the Fall Guy song. Did you see Destiny's talk with Sargon today? Mostly him playing Factorial while letting Sargon go down his dialogue tree. Yeah, it seemed like pretty uninteresting. I only caught a little bit of it, but it is so funny how hard all these like fascists are trying to suck Destiny's cock now that they see like the winds blowing, you know? The last time Coach Redpill had a conversation with Destiny, Coach Redpill was like, I see into your psyche, you are retard, and you are terrified of me. And he talked to him like 3 days ago, and Coach Redpill was like, yeah, the online left really sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, wow. Yeah, you know, you and I have a lot in common together, yeah. And Sargon's doing the same thing. He's like, yeah. Of course, if you look at immigration, I mean, we should get rid of all of it, obviously. And Destiny's like, no, probably not. Sargon's like, oh, right, of course. But you understand, don't you? And he's like, well, I understand why you're saying what you're saying. Those sounds like, oh, yeah, of course. Like, it's just such a pathetic attempt. It actually, in a way, is a kind of passive endorsement of me, I think, because the only real shift in the winds here has been Destiny's, like, falling out with me. So the fact that they're doing this feels like they're trying to do some cringy, like, alliance with Destiny as part of a broader effort to shit-talk me or, like, BreadTube. Because Sargon even asked Destiny what he thought about BreadTube. It's really, really weird. Sargon claims to have read the Bread Book. Ah, yes, no doubt. The same way he reads everything else, I imagine. Wait, he actually did? He has a channel where he reads theory? Xander Hall listened to some of it on stream, it's so funny. Wait, is that true? Wait, I need to imagine that in my head. So, Sargon's, like, reading the Bread Book, and after every, like, couple paragraphs, he'll go, This is why SJWs are obsessed with their pathological lying. It's because, you see, here, Kropotkin says no longer shall the proletariat lie on their acquired fruit of their labor. So obviously, fuck, I was reaching too hard for that one. It killed my brain. Wait, hold on. Why should the vote of a dying, demented redneck idiot have the same value as mine? Maybe votes should have more value if the voter can pass a fucking literacy test. My dude, you know literacy tests were historically used to discriminate against the poor and black people, right? It's wealthy people and white people who predominantly vote for Trump. As a general rule, implementing literacy tests would only further conservatism. You know, maybe what we could do to ensure only the right people can vote is only white people who own property. Maybe white men who own property. That way we're selecting for the highest echelon of society, the most educated people.
Manifesto of the Communist Party.
Oh my god, this is real.
1888 English version. A spectre is haunting Europe. The spectre of communism. All the powers of old Europe have entered into a holy alliance to...
Does he actually audiobook it? Wait, how am I not doing this? He did it in 1:25? You should read Theory to Artemy. That'd be a good YouTube video if I just have the cats on my lap and I'm just reading theory while they sleep. People would watch that. What do you think about gatekeeping conspiracy theories with an IQ test? I don't think IQ really correlates with your propensity to fall into conspiracism. I don't know what you mean by gatekeeping, by the way. Like, you can only be a Q8 honor if your IQ is 110 or higher. Like, I don't think they're that discerning, but I don't think having a higher IQ gives you higher critical thinking skills when it comes to discerning reality from falsehood. IQ test literally measures critical reasoning skills. Yeah, for diagrams and numbers, not for complex critical thinking skills used to discern this kind of stuff, like in real, actual applications. Come on, we all know people who are book smart but are dumb as fuck in other stuff, you know? How many people have high IQs but have no idea how to flirt with people? Like, that's also a form of critical thinking. It's just, intelligence is highly compartmentalized for quite a few people. There are plenty of people who are smart at one thing but dumb at another. Fucking Herman Caine was like a groundbreaking neurosurgeon, but he thought the pyramids of Giza were like grain silos or something. Like, there was some really weird conspiracy history shit he kept... Oh, not Herman Caine, Ben Carson, my bad. Wait, then who's Herman Caine? Herman Caine is the one that died to COVID after going to the Trump rally? Oh. See, now this is what I call a live demonstration. I know that I have good critical thinking skills, but a component of intelligence is memory. My memory is miserable. So am I smart? You'll have to find that answer out to yourself. To be 100% fair, I'm black and I get the two mixed up all the time, Vaush. Well, now one of them's dead, so it should be easier, right? Okay, everyone, I've got it. I've got a black pass. I did it. I did a fuck up, but it got undone. Enlightened Sinophile, I would recommend not being that concerned with what specific political ideology you adhere to, and rather which policies and measures you would like to take. What changes do you want to make to the world? That's what matters most, okay? There are 1,000 little micro differences between different iterations of this or that or whatever. Lacan said conspiracy theorists are pathologically self-aggrandizing narcissists, even if they are correct. Well, I would think that would probably generally be a fairly reasonable thing to argue. At the heart of every conspiracy is a collection of people who want to believe they're more special than everybody else because they possess secret knowledge the population at large does not. That's the heart of conspiracy. That's the core of conspiracy. And that distinction between those who know and those who don't know, that the sheeple versus the woke ones, that's pretty much the heart of the conspiratorial mindset. I have occasionally engaged in conspiracism on this channel, that is true. But when I do so, I generally try to lay out my arguments, and I usually signpost my arguments with, but I recognize that could not be the case. For example, I just recently said there is a possibility that the reason the Breonna Taylor charges were levied so late after the actual murder was because they wanted to take advantage of the blowback to increase the likelihood of a Trump re-election. Do I have evidence of that claim? I certainly do not. Is it a possibility? It is. So I signpost it. I say, this is a thing I believe might be the case. I don't know if it's the case or not. You'll have to make your own conclusions, but I think it's a legitimate possibility and something, or at least a possibility worth considering. That's the same shit they all say, to be fair, but there's a big difference in the sincerity of it, you know? When I say this is a possibility, I really do mean this is a possibility. When QAnoners say, you'll have to do your own research, what they actually mean is, we 100% believe all this stupid shit, we just want to put the burden of proof onto you so you don't have to ask us for answers, because this shit is incomprehensible when directly questioned. Hey! It's the fucking squad! Oh, fucking ugly-ass goblin cat. Nah, I love them. Hold on, focus! Focus! Oh, I bounce! No, it was random! Let me up! No, again, don't do it! Fuck! It's always the other side. You always think you're doing well. Fucking diver hat, motherfucker, shitty ass. Do you think Zionists are gonna care about Trump's open anti-Semitic comments? Dude, Zionists don't give a fuck about Jewish people. You fucking kidding me? Most Zionists are crazy fundamentalist Christians who think the Jews need to get their homeland back so they can all burn in the rapture. Most, literally, if you took account of all the Zionists on Earth, I would be willing to bet that a majority of them only care about Israel so Jews can burn in holy fire during the rapture. I really think that's a majority of them. Zionists don't give a fuck about Jewish people. Most Jewish people in the United States are progressive Democrats. And by the way, most of the Jewish people I've talked to, their support for Israel is tepid. Their support for Israel is like, you know, I don't know if I agree with everything going on over there, but like, I mean, I just feel like we get a lot of hate around the world. It's nice to have a country backing us up, though. Zionists are typically Jews, though? No, that's not true. There are plenty of Zionist Jews, but there are also a ton of Zionists who are just American non-Jews, you know? Most people in our elected government are Zionists. What about Jewish Zionists? Do you think they don't care about Jewish people? If they did, they probably wouldn't be Zionists. The way the current Israeli state operates is very bad for Jewish people. They might care about Jews in like a nationalistic, like, you know, bring together the bloodline kind of way. But when it comes to actually helping Jewish people, but why, Vaush? Because Israel is a shitty ethno-state that every fucking country on Earth hates. It's America's biggest military base. Nobody likes Israel. They have utterly failed with regards to their global diplomacy. Nobody likes it. And all Israel ever does is accuse people who disagree with it of being anti-Semitic. And that makes non-Zionist Jewish people look really fucking bad because their identities are constantly getting tied to this shitty little fucking military-based ethno-state that cries anti-Semitism anytime anybody has a problem with any of the shit they do. Now, there are a lot of anti-Semitic criticisms of Israel, don't get me wrong, and those deserve to be criticized fairly, but Israel throws that bat way the fuck too far to the right. And what this does is inexorably ties the identity of Jews around the world to a pretty fucked country with a pretty fucked political system that is committing some pretty fucked apartheid and genocide. And all that does is then lead to further hate to Jews. Dude, look at American neo-Nazis. They complain about Israel nonstop. They complain about Israel constantly. And to them, the fact that America gives a fuck ton of money to Israel and supports them and what have you is evidence of a Jewish conspiracy. The existence of Israel has only emboldened anti-Semites, and I don't think it really meaningfully it helps Jewish people around the world. What solutions do you have? The most realistic solution is a two-state one, or preferably, but less realistically, a coalition government that bisects national leadership between Palestinian and Israeli officials, a redistribution of housing and property rights, and reparations for damage done to the Palestinian people. That's the best possible option. You should do a section on Israel. It's just not politically relevant to me right now. There's multiple compilations of you mispronouncing like 254 words. How do you feel about this? Haha! Sorry, motherfuckers. You guys gave me a big old YouTube channel and a big old streaming career anyway. Nice. Only now do you learn I am both illiterate and the verbal version of illiterate. I fucking tricked you. I have never read a word in my life. I don't know what words are. I play video games. You fools. Why do evangelicals always result to calling me a self-hating Jew when I criticize Israel? Because that's the purpose Israel serves. You get to put people... Ben Shapiro does this shit too. You gotta put people into two categories. It's the good Jew and the bad Jew. A good Jew is a conservative, supports Israel, legitimizes the military-industrial complex, and criticizes the bad Jews. And bad Jews are people who believe in human rights. And that's the difference, okay? It's the good Jew and the bad Jew, as described by Ben Shapiro.